If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you, here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out.
War escalating across the Middle East amid new attacks in Kuwait, Iraq, and Israel. Iran has rejected the latest U.S. peace plan, according to Iranian state television.
Have these talks hit a dead end?
They have not. Talks continue. They are productive.
Late today, Iran's foreign minister claimed there were no official talks. Still, NBC News has learned the Trump administration sent Iranian officials a 15-point plan to end the war through Pakistani intermediaries, according to two regional sources and a U.S. official.
They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3.
Today, Iranian state television, citing an unnamed senior official, said Iran had responded negatively to the proposal and detailed 5 demands to end the war, including a halt to aggression and assassinations by the U.S. and Israel, plus complete control over the Strait of Hormuz. The White House warning Iran would be hit harder than before if there's no deal.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell. Iran should not miscalculate again.
Also, after previously rescheduling his Beijing meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, President Trump today announcing a new date, May 14th and 15th. The White House was pressed on whether that's a signal for when the war might end.
Again, as I've said, we've always estimated approximately 4 to 6 weeks, so you could do the math on that.
As he considers his next move, 3 current and a former U.S. official tell NBC News that the military now compiles a daily highlight reel for the president that shows a video montage of the most successful strikes on Iranian targets over the previous 48 hours. The officials say he's also updated about the war through conversations with top military and intelligence advisors.
All right, Gabe joins us now live. Gabe, I know you have some new reporting just in about Iran reacting to all of this.
Yes, Tom. The Iranian foreign minister is now acknowledging Iran has received messages from the U.S. through intermediaries, but that he does not consider that a formal negotiation. Meanwhile, tomorrow here at the White House, President Trump is set to hold his second cabinet meeting of the year.
When you go through the 15-point, proposal, I mean, they're acting like they have won the war. And what I mean by Donald Trump and his administration is act like they really have won the war. Now, when you have won a war and your enemy is defeated, then you can put out proposals and stuff like that because your enemy is defeated. Your enemy want a ceasefire more than you. You see what I'm saying? That's what blows my mind about this whole demonstration. There has not been anyone who can self-proclaim and say, hey, we have defeated Iran, or Iran can say, hey, we have defeated the Americans. Because war is still going on. When somebody is defeated, they submit. Hey, man, listen, that's enough, bro. Hey, I'm tapping out. You get me. You see what I'm saying? Iran has not tapped out. Iran is still doing stuff like this. Check it out.
Iranian state media says the regime will stop the war when it decides to and when its own conditions are met. Those include an end to, quote, aggression and assassinations, as well as a demand for reparations.
We're having, by the way, a tremendous success, as you know, in Iran.
It contradicts President Trump's claim yesterday that Iran's leaders were eager to end the war.
You have no idea how badly they want to make a deal.
Today, a spokesman for the Iranian military mocked President Trump's talk of a ceasefire, saying Americans were, quote, negotiating with themselves. Trump suggested yesterday that regime change has already taken place because many of Iran's top leaders have been killed by airstrikes.
This is a change in the regime.
Yet after nearly a month of war, Iran's Islamic Republic lives on. For Israel, the success of this conflict may depend on how severely it's damaged Iran's deadly ballistic missile capability.
Whoa! You see what I'm saying? How was the war over? How can we sit up here and say, yeah, man, we won, man, we defeated them, and then gonna send them a 15-point proposal like, look, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can do... It don't work like that. That's just like, for an example, y'all. All right, I'm gonna put it to us, in some terms that we probably can understand. Here it is, you in your house on your land, and a stranger just comes out of nowhere, just start tearing up the crib, throwing stuff, damaging your property and everything. And you come outside and you say, man, what the hell going on? And he say, well, look, check this out, man. That electricity, you can't use that no more. Your water, you can't use that no more. Your gas, or you can't use none of that no more neither. And this land right here don't belong to you. It belong to me. You see? And you sitting up here thinking to yourself, like, wait a minute, this man must be crazy. Something got to be wrong with him. This is my land. This is my property. I paid for this. This belongs to me and my family. And you got a stranger telling you what you can and what you can't do on your land. That's what's going on with these so-called negotiations between Donald Trump and Iran. You see how that sound? It don't sound right. So, I would like to believe that if someone came on your property and was doing that to you, that you would defend your property. But no, the stranger tell you, hey, those weapons you got in the house? Yeah, that 30-yard 6, them assault rifles and them handguns, you can't use those. Nah, As a matter of fact, what we're going to do is, I'm going to give you this BB gun that I got here. You hold that and give me all your other guns. That's what America is telling Iran. That's how, look, your missiles can't shoot far. We don't want your missiles going here. We don't want you. Come on now. Like, anybody in their right mind would deny, would reject that type of proposal. Now, if they was defeated and the war was over with and we won the war and we got our foot on their neck, of course, then something like that can happen. But Iran's still fighting. These people is using drones to bomb places. You see? Unmanned drones to bomb places. So what that tells me is this right here. They ain't worried about losing no life or none of that type of stuff. They got the drones. Y'all shoot down the drone, okay, we miss a few dollars or something like that, but at the same time, these is cheap drones that they can just build up. I'm talking about by the millions, by the thousands, and just send them all over the place. You see? So yeah, and let's not talk about, you know what I'm saying, what's they call that, the Strait of Hormuz? Listen, y'all, they're saying that 20% of the world's oil come through that Strait of Hormuz. Iran understands this. That's why Iran got all these ships sitting in the water, waiting to get through the Strait of Hormuz or waiting to get destroyed. Check it out. Y'all see all those ships in the water? Yeah. They trying to go through that strait and they can't. Because every time they go through there, Iran blowing their ass up. And the United States of America can't stop that. You see what I'm saying? They blowing them up. And if they not blowing them up, they charging them $2 billion in the yen though. Not in the dollar, not in the European currency or nothing like that. In the yen, in Chinese currency. $2 billion. That's only if you are a friend of Iran. But if you are a friend of the United States or Israel or anybody that Iran don't get along with, you ain't getting through. If you come close to that strait where you can get, they blowing your ship up. And see, America can't stop that. The only way that America can stop that is if they put boots on the ground. All the bombing in the world is not going to stop that. They got to put boots on the ground. And that's what appears to be happening. Check it out.
There's breaking news on the war in Iran. Iran rejecting President Trump's 15-point plan. Iran insisting there are no negotiations taking place. Tonight, President Trump surging forces to the region, including up to 1,500 troops from the 82nd Airborne. And now even some Republicans are expressing concern tonight about possible American boots on the ground in Iran. Rachel Scott at the White House tonight.
Tonight, Iran flatly rejecting President Trump's 15-point plan to end the war, insisting no negotiations are taking place, despite what the president says.
They want to make a deal so badly.
But Iran's foreign minister today declaring there are no negotiations with the enemy. Iran sarcastically asking if Americans were negotiating with yourselves. Despite the clashing claims, sources tell us the two sides are trading messages, using Pakistan as a go-between. Iran aware Trump's overtures come as he surges military forces to the region. Up to 1,500 American paratroopers from the Army's 82nd Airborne Division now on the way. The president has not ruled out putting boots on the ground. Tonight, even some top Republicans sounding concerned.
As more troops head to the Middle East, tonight the Pentagon briefing lawmakers over on Capitol Hill, but the top Republican on the House Armed Services Committee sounding unsatisfied, telling reporters we want to know more about what's going on, what the options are, and why they're being considered, saying we're just not getting enough answers to those questions, David.
Rachel Scott live at the White House again.
They sending troops there, boots on the ground. From my understanding, roughly like 2,000 troops, right? So now, when I first heard that, I'm like, 2,000, that sounds like a lot of people. But when you think about the country of Iran, there's 90 million people there, right? 90 million. And you sending 2,000 soldiers over to a country with 90 million people who can't stand the United States of America. That don't make no sense to me right there. And not only that, being that Iran understand that these soldiers is coming, Iran is, they say, come on, we waiting on them. We ready for them to come. Check it out.
So here's what sources are telling CNN tonight. They say Iran is actively preparing for an invasion of Karg Island. That is that 8 square mile island at the top of the Persian Gulf, 20 miles off the coast of Iran, that exports nearly 20% of the country's oil. So obviously it's central for Iran, an artery. It's an island, in fact, that Trump has long talked about invading.
I need y'all to understand something, y'all, about Iran. Again, 90 million people. But we got to understand something about the Iranian military. They have more combat soldiers ready to go right now than the whole United States military. I'm talking about Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines. Nah, they got way more than us. Ready to go, right? And here it is, you're going to send 2,000 people over there, and they got over 650,000 foot soldiers trained for combat, been waiting on this day. Ready to go, lock and loaded. It ain't gonna turn out well. If them foot soldiers is going, if them soldiers, those 2,000 soldiers from the United States is going anywhere near Iran, or getting dropped off by that Strait of Hormuz, it's not gonna be a pretty sight. It's not gonna be a pretty sight. And that's why the Iranians are saying, yeah, come on, send them on through. We gonna knock them down. Send them on through. Because you gonna send 2,000 and they got 650,000, it ain't gonna work. Even if they ran up on them without guns and they just want to fight with their bare hands, there's no way that 2,000 can kill 650,000 people. Even if they say, you know, we gonna just beat y'all to death. You see? But that's not what's gonna happen. They're going to be sending those ballistic missiles at them 2,000 soldiers. They're going to be sending them unmanned drones in the swarms at those 2,000 soldiers. And they're going to wipe them out. If he put those soldiers on that little island right there by the Strait of Hormuz, it's not gonna be good for him. That's look. If he do that, watch what I tell y'all. Watch what happened. Because we got to think about history, right? Well, in Vietnam, right? We had 500,000 foot soldiers, boots on the ground in Vietnam. And guess what happened? We lost that war. We lost with 500,000 foot soldiers, boots on the ground. And in Vietnam, they ain't got 90 million people. Vietnam probably got what? 40 million, 35 million, 40 something million, something like that. So that's half of the population of Iran. And so here it is, we think we finna just send 2,000 and we couldn't even do it with 500,000 in Vietnam? Come on, quit playing. Quit playing. I'm talking about if he send them boys over there like that, man, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough on them boys. If he send them over there anywhere close to Iran, or if Iran find out where they at, it's gonna be tough. Because all our bases that's over there in the Middle East right now, all the army bases and military bases that we got over there has been struck by Iran. And from the reports that I'm getting, they saying that those bases are abandoned. The United States soldiers, hey, no, we got to go somewhere else. Because Iran just slamming them with them drones, slamming them with missiles. That the United States soldiers had to abandon those military bases and get up out of there. You see? So, look, it's not going to be nothing sweet running over there in Iran thinking that, okay, we got all these airplanes and all that. Listen, to win wars, you got to have boots on the ground. That's how you control stuff and do a regime change. You see what I'm saying? Look, it ain't going to go no other way. For an example, think about this right here. Because we going back in history with this thing, right? Because Donald Trump told me, I said he want a regime change. He want to change the country and all that old type of stuff. Listen, think about Germany, right? Germany have probably 70 million people? I think, roughly probably like 70 million people, especially like back then when World War II was going on. We couldn't even get them. And we had all the military, we had, all the planes and all that old type of stuff. It took two superpowers to do a whole regime change on Germany. The Russians was helping us. United States was there. I think Britain was even taking part in it. You see what I'm saying? It took all these superpowers just to knock down Germany. And Germany is not bigger than Iran. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, look, it's not gonna be that easy. You talking about you want a regime change and all that old type of stuff, man. They ain't going for that. They is not going for that. Like again, that's just like somebody coming to your house to some, look, your mom and your daddy, we don't want them taking care of y'all no more. We finna knock them off, or we finna give y'all some other parents. Oh, the way that y'all run things in this house, forget about that. Nah. We finna put somebody in position to run things the way we want it to be ran. You gonna buck that system. You gonna say, nah, hell no, I want my mom and my daddy. I want to do the things that, how they been doing. I'm not trying to do nothing that you got doing and I don't even know you. You see? And that's what's going on in Iran right now. That's what the United States and Israel is trying to put on Iran right now. And I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, you done killed all their leadership. But the cold-blooded part about that I don't think a lot of people thinking about, even though that we done killed all of their leadership, somebody else got to lead. And the next person that comes and lead, he might be worse than the other people that was leading. You see what I'm saying? They gonna remember this, what happened to them. They gonna remember, man, the United States and Israel, man, they attacked us. They ain't gonna forget about that. Never. And being that they ain't gonna forget about it, then that's putting like innocent people at risk over here because, man, we accept people from all over the world. And if you got some sleeper cells over here, I'm talking about just waiting to be activated, man, it's going to be tough. A lot of innocent people going to die because of what's going on right now. Cold-blooded demonstration. This is hood educated, not lame related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Now, if you're still here, I want you to click that thumbnail right there, and I want you to check out this other video that I just put out concerning the death of a drill rapper in Chicago who goes by the name of Lil Mikey. Peace and love.